John, did he just say, "It is finished"? He was gone, this moment in time. That was it. It was over. He had died. She would never again let out the hem of a tunic of a growing boy. She would never run out of biscuits. She would no longer need to wait in Nazareth for young John to run home and tell her stories. He had died, and she was there. She watched as it ended. She was there. She was silent, and all time stopped. No time ticked on from this moment. There were people moving, some confusion, some words, some worries about what to do next. She did not hear. No time ticked on for her. Her world had ended in this moment, less than 8 miles from a little town called Bethlehem. A Joseph loosened him and placed him in her arms. A Joseph, much like her Joseph did some 33 years ago. The thorns were taken and freed his head to find an old familiar place upon her breast. A Joseph gave her time with him. How she couched him and stroked his hair. And still, no time ticked on. Now she had memories, all right. Now she held a baby boy who smelled of clean hay. She watched a 2-year-old playing in a foreign land, learning to speak baby Egyptian. Now she had memories, all right. She saw a 12-year-old standing in the temple, hearing his voice crack as he read the scriptures. She saw a 16-year-old who stood proud in her kitchen, having sold his first table. She saw a 20-year-old who held her and cried with her when they buried his father. And now, most recently, a 30-year-old who became the seeking Christ, whose passionate desire for relationship with you and with me still seeks us today. That's who she held. She was not cold any longer. It was warm holding him. Her heart and hands were warm again. She lived there in this no-time place and dreamed her whole life over and over and over again with him. But when Joseph, this new Joseph, who gave her time with him, when he returned, she felt them having come to take him from her. She looked up at a tear-stained Joseph waking her, and she realized she had been rocking him. This mother, who longed to wear the wounds he wore, to carry the cross that was not hers to carry, she handed Jesus back to Joseph. John came to help her up. They followed closely behind Joseph toward the resting place. But she stopped to look back at his cross. And then she saw them, his people, his followers, his shepherds, and she watched them coming out of the bushes from behind stony boulders. She watched them slowly creep up to touch that dirty, bloody, splintery cross. They crept slowly, just to touch it. Just to touch it, where he had given last full measure. We will do that later, today, you and I. We'll come as fathers holding toddlers who stretch to reach the top of it. We'll come as children from play. We'll come as teenagers who question the meaning of it all. We'll come as young adults who study the meaning of it all. We'll come as parents, as co-workers, as doctors, as lawyers, as Indian chiefs, all over the world today. We will come. We'll come as elders who get so close and fill with fear and can't even touch it. We will come to venerate the cross, to regard with respect, with heartfelt reverence. Venerate. We'll come this Good Friday, 2012. His Calvary was hers. Her Calvary was his. Even here, at the foot of this cross, Mary is teaching us. She's taught us her whole life. She's taught us how to birth him in our everyday Bethlehems. When we give birth to him inside our families, in our offices, when we take him to Wegmans, when we cheer at a Little League game. We are called to give him birth, my friends, especially as women. We are called to bring him to life. She has taught us how to dance with him in our Cana moments, when we celebrate life, marriages, baptisms, good report cards, the boy in the military next door who comes home safe. Our celebration moments, Mary has taught us how to dance. So what has she taught us here at this cross this day? One small thing for sure is when we are lost, don't go home. John and she did not head back 90 miles to Nazareth. They went back to the upper room. They went back to where they saw him last. When we are lost and we are afraid, go to the upper room. He expects you to be there. When Jesus walked with her and taught her, he gave her the desire, the understanding, the mandate. Expect resurrection, he said to her. Resurrection, Easter morning, in the upper room, as Jesus knelt down to wake her and stir her from her fitful sleep. She recognized him, she held him, and he held her. She felt this presence of the resurrected Christ. She knew she was touching his fully healed scars. She could stroke his hair again. She looked deep into his eyes. They were, once again, mother and son. And then she heard him whisper, up close, "Thank you. Thank you for being there with me." thank you for getting me through. Her son, this little boy, was the resurrected Christ. All along in her suffering, she expected resurrection, and so must we. Her message from Calvary is hope. Hope for an Easter morning. Hope inside our suffering and sorrow and pain and joy. The hope of Easter did dawn for Mary, and it will for us. So, it really didn't end on a hill called Calvary. This was his promise to her, and hers to us. Her last majestic moment on this planet was to call us to hope. She calls it out loud and clear. Her message to us this Good Friday in 2012 in this church called Christ the King. The message, my friends, is hope. It is real. It is for today that we hear this story. It is not something that's history that happened 2,000 years ago. It is real. It is not history. It is living mystery that she gives us. So take hope with you this Good Friday when you leave this holy ground of this church. Expect in your life that someday we too will have our own Easter morning, and Christ will come and waken us from our own fitful sleep when our life has ended, when we have stood at our own crosses, when we have been frightened by our own Egypt fears, when we have been lost in our own temples, when we have buried our own Josephs, when we have stood at the cross of Calvary with our own John, watching our loved one die. Even perhaps when we've gone through our own Calvary death. When all this comes to pass, it's what brings it to it is hope. Hope is the answer. It is why we're not stuck in the past. Since Christ has risen, Mary tells us, hold on. He'll look in your eyes someday and he'll say to us, each one of us, thank you. Thank you for standing there with me in all your moments of suffering and sorrow and swords. Thank you for believing. So rise up now, John and Susan and Gregory, and come with me. Come home to eternal life with me. This is your Easter morning. Come on in and meet my mother. Her name is Mary.